Hello, my hosts, and welcome to another Minecraft stream. Today, we are going to be clearing away the last bits of obsidian. So, that should get us into the right state for our big underground hole. Or big, actually not underground, above ground hole. There's no ground left at all. So let's get into that right now. Hi, New Haven. And Anthony as well. Give me a second. Just going to wait till the... Yeah, here it goes. Getting captured and loaded up. Awesome. Alrighty. Let's get some more. Yeah. I think this may have once been a wholly impossible task. Yeah. Alright. Where is my kit with the beacon? There it is. Hey. What is the time? Got plenty of time. Oh, I'm going to need some iron as well. Alright. So, the plan... gonna need my... that one. Ah! Making a hole is easy, making the right hole... Yeah! And making it all nice and clean and tidy is going to be quite a bit of effort. Did I manage to... That's fine. Is the base supposed to be 4 or 5? I can never remember. Well, worst comes to worst, we'll make it bigger. There. I'm pretty sure it's 5 because otherwise it wouldn't be symmetrical. Oops. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and then we got up to 6. Ah. Okay, so the base is supposed to be not that. I so rarely build these things. Oh, actually need another layer. Okay. That's getting late. Go like that. Oops. Keep placing stuff at the wrong spot. Yeah. Oh, we need another row on top of that. Ah. So when we finish this, we'll memorize the size. So when we go to the next stage... Oh, hold on. Where did you two come from? Okay, there's still some spawnable spots left. All right. Okay. So I guess we need another row around here. Oops. So let's not go on that side because we've got the box down there. Okay. I'm reminded of the classic agile illustration where they talk about building a pyramid sort of side by side. So when the pharaoh dies, you can bury them immediately, which is fine as an analogy, but doesn't actually work in real pyramid building. There it goes. All right. Favorite, it's the one Bender made. My favorite pyramid is the bent pyramid because it's incredibly crap. Okay, I want to boost haste, haste. All right. Now, hopefully, I've got the range correct for this. Neat. Goes a lot faster now. Compared to how long it would normally take to remove obsidian. Ah. The best pyramid is the best. Yeah. Also a very good pyramid. I like the Mini Minuteman, who's an archaeology YouTuber, for a April Fool's thing, came up with a whole lot of conspiracy theories about the base pro pyramid. Yeah. I see it. Yeah. AKA Milo Rossi, yes. Let's see if I can get on top of Old Smoky covered in cheese, actually on top of this obsidian. There, because I think it'd be easier than going from below. Although I end up sort of almost beefing myself. Is that the correct term? Alright. Oh, I think actually I will leave that one to last. Ah. Would make a pyramid. Well, sort of pyramid, at least adjacent, are A-frame houses. Because they're all triangular. They are apparently very popular in mountainous areas where you get a lot of snow. There used to be one near my primary school, which was cool because it was used as an example of what A looked like. A looks like the A-frame house. Right. Oh. Ah. Yeah. And also because the roof has a very high pitch angle, snow will slide off it a lot easier. I think that's the idea as well. Just in places where you don't get much snow, you can use just a very slight angle. Also makes me curious about sort of big industrial buildings and skyscrapers, because they typically have pretty flat roofs. So how do they get rid of snow buildup. Ah. Baba Yaga has a house with large skin. Can move around depending on the weather. Yes. The evil Russian witch. And I think she has a big cauldron that she can ride around in too, like a horse. Very transport oriented. The Baba Yaga. All right. Don't see many skyscrapers where having snow on the roof is considered. Could be. I'd have to check that climatically. Also, it could be that the top have concealed little uh, concealed sloped roofs that help, like hiding behind the easements. Also, could possibly be that the heat coming off the top of most skyscrapers helps melt the ice. Yeah. Now remembering, I think it was a warehouse that covered the top of their building with water as a heat control method. Oh, sorry, it was a warehouse. It was top of a factory. And because it had a little bit of sand on there as well, ducks started landing in there, and the ducks brought plants along, and the entire roof became a little wetland pond type situation. Sort of like naturally rewilding itself. Ah. Have a specific rooms with a giant ball specifically to help stabilize them. Yeah. Active dampeners or passive dampeners, depending on how active versus passive the dampening is. Because with wind and earthquakes and all of that, they tend to sway. And the dampening on the top adjusts their natural harmonics, resonant frequency, and can be used. Yeah. And can be used to help stabilize the building because it absorbs a lot of the energy from the swaying. There's one in, I think it's Taipei, that has the active dampening on display. Another approach that they use, if I recall correctly, is they'll have a huge tank of water, actually 2 tanks of water with a smaller pipe in between. And as the building sways back and forth, the water will slosh between the two sides, but the pipe between them will slow down the rate. So, yeah, Taipei 101, that's the one I was thinking of, yeah. Will slow down the rate, so the water ends up sloshing in the counter phase to the movement, which sounds very effective. They also have similar things on boats to reduce the amount of what's that one? Pitch. I think that's yaw. Yeah, to reduce the amount of yaw movement on boats. Let's see if we can get there. Oops. Yep, we're still in the range. Good. All right. Being built. Lightning rods. Ah, yeah, that's a very old technique. When oops, I'm out of range. I'm gonna have to rebuild that. When I used to work in a university architecture department, there was a professor who had a got the beacon box, yeah, who had on his wall what looked like a lead pipe. But what the lead pipe was originally was a rectangular rectangular prism of lead that acted as a lightning arrestor for a large building. And what had happened is the lightning had hit. Oh, I needed to count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The base is 9 by 9. The lightning had hit the arrestor and went down it, and with the intensity of the power, had melted the lead or made it more pliable. And because of the high energy magnetic fields that it generated, had pushed the lead out to make a cylinder pipe. I am quite well. Yeah. And good to see you, Jordan. We are doing the last bit over here of removing the obsidian from the bottom of our massive perimeter hole, with the idea that will be completely clear of everything that's spawnable down here, except for little stray spots. But I've got a plan for handling that as well. Okay. Now we've got, this should give us 2 stacks of 64 plus a stack of 17, which is important since otherwise we'd be missing some. And I've got a great talent for missing pieces, as my whole legacy with the sponges have gone. Yep. Like that. All right. Yep. This is always a bit of a challenge. Yeah, definitely not going to be invited to Parkour Civilization. Oh. There we goes. Are we missing any yet? Ah. Can mobs spawn on obsidian? I believe they can. Actually, hold on. Is there a... don't tell me on that. Overlay. Why can't I... There we go. Is there a mob spawnable? Player position, post effect. Chart borders. Nah. Yeah, it's... There we go. That would be really appreciated. I know mobs can't spawn on bedrock. And to be honest, the real reason I'm removing the obsidian is because it just looks messy and will get in the way of my further plans. But knowing if it's spawnable will be good to know. All right. Oh, hold on. I've got 32 there. Is that what we started off with? I thought it was 17, but I must have miscounted. Must have seen 17 at one point. Well, 34, 34, 36. Or 64. Yeah. They can. Okay. Well. Cool. That even the human body has metals in it. Yeah. Well, especially iron. We've got a lot of iron in it. Actually, just talk about that in a second. Let's go back to my main room. My library. Because it is time to stretch. All right. All right. There we goes. Yeah. What's even more cool about that is if you, for example, eat fortified cereal, that contains small amounts of iron oxide, which when you comes into your body, the hydrochloric acid in your stomach will dissolve that and turn it into ferric chloride, which in turn will get processed by an enzyme in your mitochondria and it will get reduced. So as well as the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the soul, of the cell, sorry, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is also the blast furnace of the cell. There it goes. Because the whole chemical process that we need massive industrial facilities. Yep. Basically, it was originally its own cellular thing. It's got its own genes and everything. It's basically a symbiote that lives inside your cells. 1, 2, 3, 4. Was 9 at the base, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah, Venom, yeah. 6. Actually, symbiosis is a really common thing. I think because specialization is very efficient, but means that things aren't completely covered. Okay, so wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cool. Would be ironic if we made this one too big. There it goes. But it means that the mitochondria can be specialized in doing chemical extraction-y type things, chemical energy extraction. And the human cells can be very efficient at doing all the human type stuff and getting energy for the cell. Okay, it is 9 by 9. Perfect. Oops. love how fast the my pickaxe goes now with all the haste additions. It's like I'm digging through cobblestone or something. Yeah. There it goes. And when we go like that, the other ones just go instantly away. Goes there. That one as well. These little blobs of lava down there aren't a problem. Unless I fall into them. Because nothing's going to spawn in them. I don't think. Okay. And they're not really getting in the way of the bombers. Ah. Ah, cool. I saw that there was a Minecraft Live happening recently. Ah. Yeah. They're classic ones with the whole spiky bits in them. Ah. That's completely fine. All right. There we goes. Oops. Yeah, that one. Oh. Guess we can go on top again. Ouch. Let's go back here and land. All right. We've got occasional bat sounds. I think that was a bat. Yep, that's a bat. Oops. Well, wait. Why did that take... Hold on. Have I got the right... Yeah. There we go. All right. Oh, we got some rain too. Okie dokies. Now... we have some obsidian to remove, which we are doing with heuristic efficiency before we fell off and broke our ankles. Alright. Actually, should we have a quick rest? Ah! Since time is relative, would intergalactic species have to think in times of generations instead of years or centuries? Could be very true. I know other civilizations who think of time in the sense of seconds and kiloseconds and megaseconds. Yeah. Oh, interesting coincidence. A nano light second is about a foot long. Ah. Got one left, hopefully. Yep, I definitely have one ankle left. And one ankle right. There it goes. Alright. We are getting there. That's actually kind of significant when you think of distances like within a computer. Of course, anything outside of a computer is going to take at least over a nanosecond to retrieve. Ah. That is real. Why would you use time larger than you? Perhaps because you don't want to use a base 60 unit. That's typically the reason why. There is a sort of irritation that, oops, but time gets broken, goes 60, 60, 24, 365-ish. It's a quite unappealing way to scale time. Goes. And it used to be at a point in time, minutes, seconds, and thirdums or what, something like that. Ah. I've often wondered about the universality of math, because the more complicated the math is, you can get different math systems based on different axioms, entirely different processes. So you might arrive at completely different mathematics. Like, there's no guarantee that real numbers and calculus would be the same apart from certain demands put on it by the engineering of that time period. All right. There it goes. Ah. Like the meter was originally set to be based on the size of the Earth along a meridian that ran through Paris. And because the size of the Earth varies, the original meter could have been any sort of other value. Although meters are not exactly mathematical. But things like considering the real numbers being complete kind of is, because you can get perfectly good and useful systems if you say restrict the numbers that you use to the computable reals, although you get weird properties that way, but it is completely feasible to operate that way. Okay. Roadside picnic. Yeah. I should. Ow, ow. Read that book and perhaps play the game. Stalker, that is. The whole thing, well, eh, there was an actual standard. Yeah. Oh, it was worse than that. There was a idea of using a standard pendulum to define the foot. However, the standard pendulum foot measurement was incorrectly entered into law and didn't work properly, which is just embarrassing. Why did that one take longer? There it goes. But now the meter is set to be a certain number of is the speed is set to be the amount of distance light travels in a certain number of seconds, and seconds is set to be the amount of oscillations of a particular isotope of cesium, and that in turn is measured using a cesium clock, which is really neat process. Oh, definitely. The thing is that the universe of mathematics is massively large, like incomprehensibly so. So there's always room for advancements in mathematics. It just depends on what we consider interesting or useful. That's kind of guided the evolution of mathematics from the beginning. So like the whole cultural thing of interesting or useful. It's like the reason why we have algebra these days is to basically solve Islamic inheritance laws and allow people to divide up. Is my head doing the right thing? Yeah. Divide up inheritance evenly. And I should take a stretch. Let me do a stretch. No. All right. There it goes. All right. And calculus was basically invented to more efficiently do engineering of the type that was featured as a part of the Industrial Revolution. Which in turn allowed England to build better ships and do better astronomy, which allowed them to navigate more efficiently, which allowed them to go to far off places and take measurements to have better astronomy, which in turn let them to have better cartography, which allowed them to navigate better and colonize better, all feeding back into itself. There it goes. I've often wondered, we basically started with Euclidean geometry because we were doing sort of like navigation over mostly flat land and translating sort of maps of territory that were flat. But if you had a civilization which was operating so like massive sort of like over the horizon type things, and they were mapping their understanding of the geometry, would we have started with more of a spherical geometry? Yeah. Like, we consider parallel lines to never cross, but that's only true on a flat surface. On a curved surface like the surface of the Earth, parallel lines will meet at a pole. So if we were more aware of that, would we have started with a more spherical-like geometry? There it goes. It's interesting how long it took for, ouch, for non-Euclidean geometry to become a thing. Ow. All right. There it goes. We are getting through this. It's the next bit. Lines of longitude never cross. True. Trying to remember why. Also, however, they aren't actually lines because they don't follow great circles. That's why. And in spherical geometry, they're actually curved, which seems ironic, but it's the case. Because they're not, because a line is the shortest path between 2 points. And if you're moving along a line of longitude, you're actually going a slightly further distance than you would if you were traveling along a great circle. Which is also why if you look at map projections, the shortest path between 2 points on a map projection looks like it's curved, even if you were walking on it, it would be straight. And that's also why it appears that gravity bends light. Gravity doesn't actually bend light. What it does, gravity alters the geometry so that the straight path between 2 points looks curved from outside the perspective of that area that's under gravitational attraction. There it goes. Yeah. All right. That goes there. We are continuing to mine out this obsidian. Not sure if it's going to take a day or a couple of days. All right. There we goes. I guess it depends on my patience. maybe something so simple or obvious until, yeah, that's often the case with a lot of discoveries, that after discovered is super obvious. Ah, yes, the whole Plato's cave idea. Basically to express his idea of idols. Ah, how am I? I'm doing quite well today. He imagined the reason why we could recognize anything, that there was a Platonic universe where the perfect example of each thing existed, and we were comparing it mentally to that perfect thing, which is probably not the truth, because it has a certain degree of supernaturalism which is required, and we know how humans recognize things these days, so we don't need that sort of aspect of Platonicism. Although it does make for good magic systems. All right. We are going back. There it goes. I should read some more Greek philosophy. It's been quite a while since I read The Trial and that type of stuff. And it's curious. One of the things mentioned in The Trial is they draw an analogy between how the odds and the evens are components of the natural numbers. So they had an idea of basic set theory even in ancient Greek. Magic was real. I should be able to carve a rune into my engine block and have it have 200 miles to the gallon. Or paint your car red to make it go faster. If you're an orc, at least. There it goes. There we go. Wow. Okay. We will empty out our collection of obby and other useless stuff. All right. We could make so many nether gates with all the obsidian we have now. Can I? No, I can't land on that one. Okay. Okie dokie. Now, get onto this. Get through that there. Runic systems is one type, and yeah, it would make sense for cars and that type of thing. trying to think of fantasy animes, if there's any with really interesting, in-depth magic systems. I mean, I liked the one from Slayers, where all the spells had chants that invoked particular demons and supernatural beings, because it told you a lot about the world and did nice bits of world building, which in turn, when you encountered the demons that were behind those spells, told you about the nature and the power of those demons, which was a neat and clean way of doing world building. And uh, ah yeah, I mean, I was going to say that the Grail of Eris, it's one of the anime that's being broadcast at the moment. It's sort of like a fantasy one set in a world where there are guns, but I realise that the only fantastic element in it is that there are ghosts. So it's ghosts, and it's set in a monarchical kingdom that is at a tech level that has guns, but technically it's not even a fantasy at that point. A cool magic system could be well paired with cooking. Like, if the right recipe, it can be gun proof or change. That sort of like potion makers animes, you get that type of thing. And I think it's the Heltelia, not the Heltelia series. There is a series where there's a series of games where you play as a potion maker, and you have recipes to make potions to have all sorts of effects. There it goes. You often have that in sort of games where you'll have an alchemist or potion master class, which can get you those type of effects. Alright. One of my favourite. Yeah. The ones that often don't have legs. Just getting rid of that because it makes me scared. Alright. Thinking we do that one, then that one, and we'll tackle the other ones on Tuesday. That sounds like a plan. There we go. Ah! I'm assuming you are... I'm assuming you are comfortable with... Looks like Barney the... What? You broke my parser! That I don't understand. So I'm amused by, I think it's Tom Scar's interpretation of Barney the dinosaur, which, now thinking about it, is sort of like a bit like my lore, in that we are both psychic parasites. It's a big purple dinosaur that's kind of a T-Rex. Yeah. That bit I know. On this bit we're going to have to go over with the bomber a lot to get rid of the remaining stone that this obsidian has been hiding. All right. Ooh. I often wonder if that's really the case. They can only see moving things. I mean, a lot of animals are drawn to moving things. And maybe movement triggers off its predation instinct. But you wouldn't think that completely freezing would render something invisible. Ah. Smart as a chimp and has hawk vision. Yeah. Yeah, it's something we'd never be able to work out. I do love how the existence of the T-Rex is justified in Jurassic Park, even though that it's not a Jurassic monster, by the fact that the guys are running a tourism operation and they're perfectly willing to have a non-Jurassic monster dinosaur there in order to bring in the viewers. What did I just... Oh. I wondered why I suddenly teleported to the top of the thing. I got onto my... Oh. That's also what I'm going to use to get rid of these floating blocks as well. There it goes. Let's see if we can... get into that landing spot there. Ah. There's Mummy... Oh! Yeah, the... Feels like a leaning on the fourth fall moment. Yeah. I think it sort of works in both ways. All right. Does feel like sometimes these take slightly longer to drill through than at other times. Eh. T-Rex is shaking. It's like, so only know. That was one of the points made in a Terry Pratchett type novel, that it could be possible for an entire civilization of sentient dinosaurs to evolve, remain around, and then get extincted, and then just not make enough impact on the environment and everything to... so it's not so they don't get recorded in the fossil record at all, and we'd never know about it. Because all we know is what's in the fossil record. And the formation of fossils is so very unlikely. You just have to be lucky at the right place in the right time. Or it's a particular species that tends to get fossilized well because of the place that it lives in. Like anything that lived or unlucky for the animal involved, true. There's like the animals that get trapped in amber. There's... all right, that is... All right. Now we'll collect this up using our there it goes. I think it's ironic that I was going to say that it's ironic that the haste beacon gives us a little bit of time to deconstruct the haste beacon using its effect, but it doesn't last that long. Okay, so 2 stacks of 64 and 1 stack of 32. I do believe we have a lot of troglodyte fossils. They lived in the shallows and had charred shells. Yeah, exactly. That was exactly the ones that I was thinking of as ones that fossilize super easily. So we get a lot of fossils of them. And we get all the fossilized creatures that fell into the tar pits because they were the types of creatures that were attracted to creatures that had fallen into tar pits. Oh. There it goes. All right. There it goes. Yeah. And all of the rivers that are called River is always amusing. Well, you actually sort of like need a certain amount of written language. Actually, do you? Do you need written language to coordinate the building of a megalithic structure? Because clearly stuff like the pyramids and the ziggurats were made by people with written language structures, but on the other hand, I don't think that's the case for the people who made things like stone circles. And we are missing a block. Okay. Let's do a little bit of a review of what we've got so far. Got this section cleared. Got bit there, bit there, bit there, bit there. And then this one over here. So we should be able to do this sector in our next stream. And then that one in the stream after that. Ah! Incubus Machu Picchu with no written language. Ah! Ah! Yes! I am going to have a stretch. I think right after I've ended the stream, so let me get into place, and we will end the stream, and then I'll have my stretch. Thank you everybody for joining me as I play Minecraft. Tomorrow we will be playing some more Whiskerwood. So I hope you can join me for that. As always, thank you. Oops. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all later. Goodbye.